Good afternoon, everyone. We're back here again to break down today's MLB slate. But before that, we do that, we're gonna go over yesterday's slate. So, what did you take away from yesterday's slate, Justin?
So if you followed the lineup on our Twitter, we slightly doubled our money. Strider should have dropped like 70, but instead he dropped 33. Gave up like two earned in the first. Um, I'm strongly debating on buying a Brent Rooker jersey because first at bat just crushed a home run. Overall, we did pretty well yesterday. Cannot believe you just said something right before this. Keller had how many? He was 40 something, right?
Who did?
Keller, Brad
Yeah,
Keller.
Brad Keller had 48.
Unbelievable. Um, not much else to take away from it. We kind of got luck. I don't want to say we got lucky, but just a little difference. Not a lot of people went with Jace Peterson, Tony Kemper, Rooker, really. So we kind of did that little A stack, and we had Vlad, Bichette, Rosarena homered. Paredes did fine, I guess, but overall it was a pretty good day.
Yeah, and to just piggyback off that, I would say, like we had talked about in yesterday's video, where like the A's are probably in play here. And the more I kept building, I was like, well, the Orioles just keep popping and popping, but it was really hard to fit like 3 4 man stacks just due to the positionality with the O's on Fanduel. So I just ended up with a 4-3 with a 4-2-2 with Oakland, Toronto, and Tampa, who we had talked about. So that was good, and we wish we got some more from Strider, but it is what it is. He was like 60% owned, which was outrageous. Gaussman went 8 innings. That's fair against Detroit. And then Bobby Witt, for some reason, ended up being 30% owned. I don't know how people got there, but he had 40 and almost drowned us. But that was about it. That's what I could take away from yesterday, and hoping today's more of the same.
And this was a very interesting slate to say the least, more so
Yeah.
with pitching. But you want to start off with pitching first, knock that out the way.
Yeah, it definitely looks like pitching is not as clear cut as it has been the last few days. Lodolo's up to 10-8, which is probably appropriate just for how well he's been doing with his K rate, but it does seem pretty steep for a team that is unlikely to win most of the time, and they're playing in a Great American Ballpark, which we know is good for home runs, and the Phillies got power, so I could see Lodolo giving up a few here, but he does look like the best pitching option to me so far.
Yeah, I agree. Montgomery 9-4 against Pittsburgh, projected for 17% ownership. That's kind of another, that's like a pivot off of Lodolo. I remember texting you yesterday, like, hear me out, Chris Bassett. He's interesting, I'll give him that.
Yeah, and
But
it's really more of like a price play because he is far too cheap. He should still be at least 8K, and he's 7,300. He's playing Detroit. I mean, I get it. He's going to be like 30% owned. If you want to play him and pay up for the bats, go ahead. I probably will land somewhere between Montgomery and Lodolo. Um, just because the offenses don't look too great on the slate, so I want the safety and pitching. And we know Bassett hasn't looked great here, so I'll probably
right,
lean towards the top of pitching for me.
yeah, to me, this is one of the slates where you kind of have to pay up for pitcher, or I don't necessarily say want to be ballsy, but like Bassett's first start of the year, he had like negative 17 fantasy points, but then he bounced back and got like 46 or something. So if you want to eat that chalk and get up to 30 and just spend up on power bats, that's fine. But I think it's got to be your your main priority's got to be Lodolo or Montgomery.
Right. And if you were like running optimizers or anything, it's going to spit out Bassett most likely. So I think he's going to gain more ownership throughout the day, especially with the power on the slate. Like St. Louis doesn't project great here, but they still have a great lineup with some pretty expensive bats, and so does Toronto. So I can see people landing there.
All right, that's enough on pitchers. It was kind of like yesterday. There wasn't really many great pitcher options, or there was, but you kind of know what you're getting. So, top stacks. I'll just read them off real quick. Toronto, St. Louis, San Diego, Cincy, uh, Yankees, Phillies, Milwaukee, Minnesota, Detroit, Pittsburgh. Who do you like besides Toronto? Because I think everyone and their mother is going to be on Toronto today.
Right. So if you're not playing Lodolo, the Phillies look pretty good to me. Just good hitting environment, minimal ownership, and if Lodolo just gives up a few early on, maybe he gets yanked in the fifth, and you get the Reds bullpen is not very good. So I could see the Phillies in play here as like a secondary stack. Toronto is probably priority. St. Louis is meh. Uh, and the Reds are projecting as the top value stack. So I could see some Reds in play, and then the Yankees have some pretty good home run percentages here. So I like them a bit. I don't know. It's so hard to full stack these teams because none of them is like really projecting above the best. I mean, there's some team totals between 5.5, 5.7 for a couple, but I might do like a 3-2-2 or something
That's
again,
what I
or
was
4-2-2.
thinking. Something I was thinking too, San Diego. So I'm just looking on FanDuel right now. I don't think that, I mean, it says right here that Bryce Wilson is starting, but I don't think he's a starter. I think this might just be a bullpen game because, usually like when the slate opens, they show you who's starting pitching.
Hmm.
So I don't mind San Diego just because it's going to be a bullpen game, as it looks like. I mean, that's what it's showing on FanDuel. That's what it's showing here on Stochastic. So maybe mix in a couple San Diego bits. Um, 5.1 team total, 11.3 stack score. Something about Cincy though, best stack score on the slate. And I think I was telling you a little earlier, like, so we're going with Cincy, right? I think Cincy's got a decent shot here. Bailey Felter. I think I played him in one slate and he stole money from me. So never making that mistake again.
Yeah,
But
I mean, if you're just looking in terms of value here, Cincinnati probably projects the best. Like we said, I mean, Steers 3K, Friedel's 2,500, Will Myers 2,400, Fairchild is 2-1. Like these guys are just so darn cheap. And even India is 3,300 at second base, and second base is usually terrible. So I get the Reds, and I I can also see the other side in Philly too. So don't mind that.
you
And
think of what
then
I'm
I
thinking?
do I do think I want some Yankees, which is sad.
Eh, they do have a lot of power today. So I
The
can
wind's
see.
blowing out a little bit, and I just they project fairly well here. They're pretty cheap too. I mean, Rizzo's 3,300, Stan's 3,400. Like you can get to these guys.
I think if we
Joe
end up
Ryan,
playing I think if we end up playing Lodolo, you can't really play Judge unless you get like a couple of cheap Cincy bets. But I don't
right?
know. The only reason why I bring up Judge is he has a 21% he's 21% to have the best fantasy score on the whole slate, top value 14%. Some other bets, I'm just looking at the batting tools. Xander Bogaerts, Arenado, Springer, Soto. I kind of like Soto. Hmm. Byron Buxton. Later, yeah, they're on the slate. I'm an idiot. Jonathan India projected well. Manny Machado, Varsho, Schwarber, Castellanos. Yeah, I'm just reading off some of these names just that are highlighted very green.
Yeah, I think that 2 through 5 I mentioned projected lineup for the Reds looks good in terms of power, at least. Ballpark Pal, Steer, Will Myers, Friedel, and Stevenson all have a home run percentage boost of like 20 or so percent or something.
All right. You want to do your home run calls?
Sure. Actually, let's go to you first if you got them, because I need just a second.
All right. So kind of got to go Judge. I'm going to go with your boy India. And then I'm going to go Real Muto. So I'm going to go Judge, India, Real Muto for today.
Okay. I'm gonna go Steer and LeMahieu if he starts. I think he's still questionable. Yeah, yeah, he is. So I'll give someone else too. Let's go. Let's go Cordero for the Yankees. So Steer, Cordero, and lastly we'll go
Derek Cordero, and who was the last one?
let's go Arenado. He's been playing pretty well.
Of course, I called him. What was it? I called him 2 days ago, and then yesterday, not on main slate, he hits a home run.
Yep,
That's just
happens.
that's the cards in a nutshell. You got anything else?
No, I think that about covers it. Just want to say thanks for everyone tuning in. We just passed 25 subs. That's pretty good, and we're just gonna keep grinding the rest of the slates, and tune in our Twitter. Make sure you follow the lineup or fade it if you want, and make sure to like and subscribe.